This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Haralambous.
Coming up on this week's programme, helping our pollinators. A bee park has been inaugurated just outside Nicosia.
It goes up to at least 2 kilometers away to get their food. And we should be careful what we plant so that we don't get all of a sudden particles that we don't like. So it's very important to spread such gardens like the one that I have visited yesterday.
The Cyprus Wine Consortium showcases its products in Limassol this weekend.
So it is a unique exhibition in that sense because it is the only exhibition that the visitor will have the opportunity to taste the wines from these grape varieties.
Young people from across the island gathered at the Cyprus Institute's SCyence Fair earlier this week.
From ages 9 to 18 years old, primary schools, gymnasiums and high schools. We want them to enjoy this experience.
And over 100 young musicians from Systema Cyprus and the Murathen organisation in France team up for a concert entitled Melange Musical.
The focus of the concert is going to be on the first movement of the New World Symphony by Anthony Dvorak.
Last week, a bee park was inaugurated just outside Nicosia at an event attended by our Commissioner for the Environment, Antonia Theodosiou. When I met up with her, I asked her whether this was the first of many. Was she, for example, planning to roll out more bee parks all across the island?
Yes, indeed. Very, very good remark, dear Rosie, and thank you for the broadcasting now. It is a very beautiful park that has been designed by the Forestry Department. It was an initiative undertaken by the former Commissioner for the Environment and the Forestry Department. It has been financed by SIDA. And it is very successful because you have the plants there, you have all the explanations, and you have also the bees. There are orthoconical, let's say, wooden boxes with the bees, but they have installed there also the traditional chivetia, and they were already inhabited by the bees very successfully. It is a very good initiative that I am going to proceed and try to develop also more, maybe further this one and more. To come, there are various companies that would like to finance such initiatives, and I think they are a very good model for our biodiversity.
So if I understood you correctly, this isn't the traditional bee hives that our beekeepers use, as you said, the wooden boxes. Are these more like bee hotels?
They have installed their beehives, and they have been multiplied since they started it. But at the same time, they have a number of built-in chivetia, which are the traditional ones. If we could call them hotels, it would be a good expression, but this is something that people used to do in all villages, keeping these beehives, these ceramic tubes, walls in their houses and in the walls in the yard. There are also other kinds that are called today bee hotels, that are wooden structures with a lot of holes where bees can inhabit, and such ones have been installed on the Pedieos in the framework of another initiative of the Pedieos river bank in the Strovolos municipality, as far as I know, and maybe also in other areas which I'm not aware of. But the ones in the Strovolos municipality has been installed by the Cyprus Energy Agency a couple of years ago.
Well, I think that the solitary bees need bee hotels, don't they? Because not all bees live in hives. But as far as the hives go, are the ones in this new bee park going to be looked after by qualified beekeepers? How's it going to work?
did have beekeepers there. They explained us what they've done so far, and they will keep doing so. They have already also the first honey production. We have been awarded with a jar.
Oh, you presented a jar of honey already. That's great. What sort of vegetation is in that area, Antonia? Because I know that in the mountains, the beekeepers tend to move their hives according to the season for the orange blossom or the lavender or whatever it happens to be. What about in this Athalassa area? What are they going to be feeding on? What sort of vegetation?
The forestry department has planted a low herbal garden with lavender and other aromatic plants, and they mentioned that they have honey also from orange trees, which are not planted, but apparently they are in the nearby area. But they have focused on the aromatic plants.
Well, I think we all know that bees are absolutely imperative if we're to keep our biodiversity and indeed keep our food supply. So it's a brilliant idea. Antonia, do let us know if you end up putting more of these structures and more of these bee parks around the island. And I presume that this one is open for maybe schools to visit and kids to understand the importance of bees in our whole life.
Of course, I will keep you informed. I would like to mention that this one is open, of course, and it is part of the Athalassa Forest Park or National Forest Park. I would also like to mention something from another point of view. There was a campaign 10 years back, which I had undertaken as president of the Federation of Environmental NGOs. We had showed also a film. It referred to the genetically modified plants and how far a bee could fly. And it's very important for Cyprus to know that because of the small size of our farms or of the small size of our island, we should be careful in general, because bees go up to at least 2 kilometers away to get their food. And we should be careful what we plant so that we don't get all of a sudden particles that we don't like. So it's very important to spread such gardens like the one that I have visited yesterday.
So we want more flowering plants and herbs and so on. We've also, I presume, got to be pretty careful about any pesticides or herbicides that we tend to spray around the place. And what about the municipalities who put a lot of these things on the road verges? Is that a danger? You often drive down a road and you see that they've obviously sprayed a strong herbicide right the way along the edge of the road.
Well, of course it is a danger. First, it's not allowed to spray anymore. So wherever you see on the road banks, let's say on the roadsides that it has been sprayed, this is completely out of the law. It's not allowed to spray anymore. We should cut whatever we have and not use certain.
Okay, but you've said that now, and a lot of people, you see it on social media all the time, saying, what a shame, look at this road verge, and it's obviously been done by municipalities. Should they report it to your office?
Not to my office, to the agricultural department.
You'll be inundated, Antonia.
To my office, I will forward it to the local authorities and the agricultural department and the Department of Environment.
Okay, so should we tell people that if they do see this happening, they do need to report it perhaps to the Environment Department or complain to the municipality and see what it says?
Yes, and name the local authority, because it's the local authorities that are responsible for not spraying. Even if they should put a location or something so that we know in which area, in which local authority is the spot.
So it does mean that all citizens can help in this if they keep their eyes open, and I hadn't realised it was illegal. I just thought it was irresponsible. So we've learnt something more.
No, it's not allowed any longer.
Antonia Theodosiou, our Environment Commissioner, many thanks for enlightening us about that and for bringing us more bees. We surely need them. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosie.
Keep up to date with events in Cyprus and around the world with the Cyprus News Digest.
This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Haralambous.
The biggest achievement of Crime Stoppers has been the ability of the public to be able to give information about crime anonymously.
There's no way I could have kept prostituting without the drugs. There's no way I could have had my body used like a public toilet, because that's actually what prostitution is.
And then the fourth series I started 3 days after I'd won the Oscar, so the whole of the Monarch of the Glen experience was all interplatted with the Gosford Park Oscar experience.
I was working with Ronnie James Dio, and David was going to reform Whitesnake in 2003.
Cyprus was chosen because Cyprus is a stable, peaceful and secure place.
We have to really look closely. What are we doing with children? What are we doing with adolescents? And what are we doing with adults that can help them move into a more literate situation?
The ones that I'm proudest of are the ones that were true discoveries, where we found something we didn't know existed.
Tomorrow in Limassol, you have the chance to join an exhibition with local wine producers. Now, you'll know that on the programme before we've talked about Cypriot wines. They're now very well respected and they go all over the world. On this week's programme, we're joined by the chairman of WineCor, which is short for the Wine Consortium, and it's a get-together of several of our top wine producers. Marcos Zambartas is here to tell us all about it, and indeed about the festival, the Andamoma exhibition that you're invited to join tomorrow in Limassol. Marcos, welcome back to the Cyprus News Digest. First, tell me a little bit about the Cyprus Wine Consortium, because it's a relatively new thing, I think, isn't it?
Thank you, Rosie. Thank you for this opportunity. WineCor, it's 14 wineries, Cypriot wineries, to promote the wines made from Cypriot grape varieties like Xinisteri, Promara, Morocanella, Vasilissa, Maratheftico, Yanoudi. These are just a few of the grape varieties that they are unique on the island. It was for many years that we felt as winemakers that these grape varieties, they don't get the exposure they deserve. So we founded together a joint company, 14 wineries, to shed light on these grape varieties. WineCor stands for Wines of Cyprus' Own Rooted Evolution. And it's basically building on the fact that Cyprus has not been invaded yet by phylloxera. Phylloxera is an insect that during the 18th century devastated the vineyards of Europe. Cyprus, being an island, has never been affected currently, as far as we know. So it is something unique, actually, on the planet. It's only Chile, China, and South Australia that they can still claim that they're phylloxera-free.
Can I ask you whether these local varieties of grapes are possibly more resistant to things like phylloxera? I mean, do they have a particular trait because they've always been grown here in Cyprus? Because I know that you're supposed to, aren't you, I think, drink the wines that are made with local grapes wherever you go in the world.
As far as we know, there is no identified mechanism that is specific to the Cypriot grape varieties to protect them from phylloxera. The grape variety that they were of North American origin have the mechanism of defense, because phylloxera came also from North America. So the vines over there, the native ones, they have mechanisms to defend themselves from this pest. The European grape varieties that also the Cypriot ones belong to, they haven't got this mechanism. So as far as we know, the Cypriot grape varieties, they haven't been affected by phylloxera because of isolation, because we're an island, not because the Cypriot grape varieties have a unique trait or mechanism to protect them from this pest.
Right, now let's talk about the wines that people will be tasting at the Andamoma exhibition. I'll ask you in a minute what that name signifies, where it comes from. But a lot of people will not have tasted these wines because unless they've been in Cyprus for a while, they won't have come across these grape varieties.
It's true that the Cypriot grape varieties, the wines from Cypriot grape varieties are not very well known at the international stage because most of them are consumed within the island. Although recently there is traction, there are increased exports to markets like the UK, the US, and in continental Europe such as Germany and Switzerland. So it is a unique exhibition in that sense because it is the only exhibition that the visitor will have the opportunity to taste the wines from these grape varieties.
What would you say signals that it is a Cypriot wine and a Cypriot grape variety? How do they vary from the more well-known, universally exported wines of the New World, Australia and Europe?
The wines from Cypriot grape varieties coming out from Cyprus, they have a unique flavor profile. So someone that is interested in tasting a wine that would not necessarily be reminiscent of any other grape variety, you'll find it very interesting.
And Andamoma, where does that name come from? Does it mean something?
Andamoma, it's the Greek word for meeting up.
So this is very much a social event where you meet up with the winemakers, discuss their various varieties, taste them, I imagine, and hopefully buy some.
Yes, that's exactly it, Rosie. There will be no selling at the fair, but of course people can place their orders at the individual wineries and then the wineries can execute the order in the following days.
So it's happening in Limassol at the Ajax Hotel, 2 o'clock till 10 p.m, I think. Is that right?
It's correct, yes.
So that's tomorrow, Saturday, April the 20th, and tickets cost €10, but you'll get a chance to sample many of our best wines here in Cyprus. Marcos Zambartas, chairman of the Cyprus Wine Consortium. Many thanks for joining me.
You can subscribe to the Cyprus News Digest on iTunes for free and get the program downloaded to your phone or tablet so you can listen anytime, anywhere.
The Cyprus Institute this week held its SCyence Fair. It is, I think, the 5th time that they've had this particular exhibition and competition, and joining us to tell us all about it is Haris Ifestou. Haris, thanks very much indeed. I've seen some pictures. It was very well attended with, over 50 schools?
Yes, over 50 schools. We also had many activities, and the participants and the visitors enjoyed every moment of this event, because the most important thing though is that we saw a lot of smiley faces from the participating students, because that's our target, to give them the chance to feel confident and happy about presenting the scientific work that they do at their schools. So we are very happy with the outcome of the event, and I believe that everybody had very good comments and everybody enjoyed this experience.
So tell us a bit more about the competition side of it, because you had primary schools, gymnasiums. I mean, you cross the divide in terms of age, don't you?
Yes, actually, participants were from ages 9 to 18 years old, and we had 3 categories for the participation for the competition. But our purpose is not to have the participants being anxious or being stressed for the competition. We want them to enjoy this experience. But okay, I can say a few things. The competition was like for 3 categories: primary schools, gymnasiums, and high schools. From each category, there was a different evaluation committee dealing with the best 3 presentations from each category. So we had 9 teams, 3 from each category for the best presentation.
And how long do they work on these presentations before they actually come to the science fair? Because I think in some schools the STEM subjects, sciences and so on, are very much more important than in others.
It's a very diverse participation. You can experience a lot of what the students have to present, because it's amazing. I mean, it's amazing what these kids are succeeding. When it comes to science, you see how happy they are to present. So this work that they present is what they start for the year that they're depending on the age, right? So you see many different things. But I stress this, that it's the happiness that they feel to show their work. Very excited.
That's important, isn't it? Because science has always been seen, I think, in the past as very serious, and you have to want to do it. Whereas if you can encourage them to enjoy it, they get very innovative, don't they?
Exactly. That's the purpose of this event, to encourage the future little scientists to enjoy what they are doing, and also being in touch with science. It helps them to maybe be inspired for what in the future, for their future, what they like to follow as a career. This is very important.
And of course, it is very important that we have sufficient numbers of scientists for the future, considering the way that everything is evolving. So, 60 student teams from more than 50 schools, that's quite a good reach, Harris. Can I congratulate you and the Cyprus Institute for your continued encouragement to our young people to take up the STEM subjects. Thanks for telling us all about it.
Thank you, and just let me mention as well that we had these participations from all cities from Cyprus, and we will start working for the next Science Fair in 2025.
Haris Ifestu from the Cyprus Institute. Many thanks for your time.
Thank you.
This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Haralambous.
Tomorrow there's a concert given by Systema Cyprus. You may have heard us talk about them before. And they're with Mourathenis in concert with a Melange Musical. The artistic director and conductor of Systema Cyprus joins us now. He is Santiago Osa Alzate. Santiago, welcome back to the Cyprus News Digest. You've been busy. Tell us a bit not only about this concert, but about Mourathenis.
Hello, Rosie. So, for tomorrow we are preparing this amazing concert that is on a side-by-side with the Mourathenis NGO from France. And we're going to have the opportunity to be playing side-by-side with 20 young musicians from France that they will join with our orchestra of Systema Cyprus. So this concert is going to involve different type of symphonic works, universal compositions from all around the world, and it's something that we have been working very hard because it's on a different level for the orchestra. It's like something new and more advanced for everyone. And also these days have been a great experience for everyone, be playing side by side with a new musician and bringing new opportunities and new experience through the orchestra.
If they're based in France, how do you rehearse?
Well, this program we decided almost like a year ago. So with our partners from France, we have been working online, and I've been working with Guillaume, that is the artistic director from the program from France, and we have been talking regularly during the months to see how their kids and my kids are working, and like if we are having the same difficulties with the piece and all these things. So it's a kind of lab to be working online, but then when we have all together in the orchestra in a very intense week, it's the process to know that we were working properly and we are ready for the concert.
So this is in person, despite the fact that a lot of the rehearsals have been online. How did the kids cope with that?
Well, of course, it's not possible to do an online rehearsal at the same time, but the way that we wanted to bring both communities together, it was like starting to have like an online discussion with the kids and sending message to one group to the other, and they will be getting to know each other. So we were sending videos since the beginning of the year to the other orchestras, so they will started to listen how the other musicians are playing. And then this week, that is the preparation before the concert of tomorrow, we had a lot of time to know each other and to experiment through the orchestra. So it's a very intense week because we have many hours trying to know each other, or imagine only to have 1 week to be ready to prepare this concert. So it has been a challenging week, but we are very, very excited for the concert.
And of course the final week of rehearsals, very intense. Now this is happening at the Municipal Theatre of Strovolos at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. Tell me a bit, if you will, about the programme that you've prepared, because it's multicultural, I suppose we could say.
Yeah, well, our big piece, or like the focus of the concert, is going to be on the first movement of the New World Symphony by Anthony Dvorak. So we are talking about the New World Symphony, that it's a very famous and known classical works, where Dvorak experiment with melodies from North America, and he make a mix of like the Czech Republic folk music, but at the same time showing this new characteristic of the new continent. So that's our more difficult piece and the challenge for the orchestra, but at the same time it's lovely because we are entering in the romanticism period, and the kids are learning more about Dvorak and all these fascinating things that a symphony brings to a good orchestra.
For those who haven't heard our previous chats, can you just remind us what Systema Cyprus is? Because you too are a multicultural organisation, aren't you?
Yeah, so Systema Cyprus is a music social project that started in 2018 in the old town of Nicosia, and we are based and inspired by El Systema in Venezuela. That it's a program that has been working for 49 years, and it's a new methodology of using the music as a tool to help the communities and to bring any type of communities together. So we are bringing kids from different parts of the world that they are living here in Cyprus, and through the orchestra and to free music access of the instruments and music lessons, we are growing with the orchestra. But a part of an orchestra, we consider like Systema is like part of our family. We are growing the community, and that's what we are doing in Systema day by day.
Well, you've had brilliant reviews whenever you've done a concert, so I'm sure that tomorrow will be sold out. We said it's at 7 o'clock. Any tickets left? I presume people can still perhaps get some at sold-out tickets. And you have a Facebook page?
Yes, everyone can find us at Systema Cyprus in Facebook or in Instagram. And we have also our channel on YouTube when you can see some of our highlights from our previous concerts.
Which are very impressive indeed. I wish you all the very best of luck tomorrow evening, Santiago, and it's a pleasure once again to have been speaking to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Well, that about wraps up this edition of the Cyprus News Digest. Many thanks for your company. Hope you'll join me next week. Till we meet again, take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.